What was your first thought when you were appointed as the Met Commissioner?
Well, I was thrilled, I was humbled, I was astonished, and I thought about my mum, no longer with us, sadly.
What would your mum have said?
I think she'd have laughed. I think she'd be amazed that her, little girl had gone on to do this.
How did you cope in those early days with the canteen culture and sexism in the force?
It was a different age. I loved policing, and I was prepared to challenge. I stood up for what I believed in. But I remember one of my bosses taking me into an office very early on and saying, Cressida, if you fight every battle at the parapets, you'll get shot down, and that will be the end of you. So I think I learned that, you can't take on absolutely every battle head on, but you should stand up for yourself.
Do you ever show vulnerability?
I heard myself saying to my senior officers the other day that, we'd had a terrible year, and I knew that some of them would be feeling like crying, and actually sometimes it's good for a team to see a boss making themselves kind of vulnerable in that way.
In terms of the shooting of Jean-Charles de Menezes, you were cleared of any wrongdoing, you were in charge of that operation. Did you ever question your judgment after that?
I don't think you can be an effective operational leader if you don't ask yourself hard questions. So absolutely. Did I think that I had made fundamental error of judgment in the decisions that I made based on the information I had? No, I didn't. But a terrible, terrible thing happened. An innocent man was killed.
Does it ever feel like a personal failure when you hear of another stabbing?
I suppose in a way it does. I feel sad, of course, for what has happened. I feel sorry for everybody involved, and I know that the public and the media are kind of counting each one, and quite right too, because they're all cherished children. Every death is a tragedy, and we should all feel outraged by that.
What do you want your legacy to be?
I want to leave a Met that is in really good shape. More importantly, I want London to be seen as a safe city in which people can see that we have really taken violence seriously and reduced the most pernicious sorts of violence, and that we have done everything we can to prevent attacks. The terrorist threat is a generational issue. And how long have you been doing this?
Just over a year now.
Does it help that your partner was in the force, so understands the climate that you work in?
I think it does in some ways, undoubtedly, because it means that, if I need to just drop everything and go, if I've got to take a phone call, she does get it. There might be a few downsides as well.
Yeah, talking shop.
Exactly.
The nature of the job is that you are on 24/7, 365 days.